Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm Dear Darling. I shall see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhollow today, where probably today there's also not a thumbnail art. I have also just remembered that tomorrow is April Fool's Day. Would it be the biggest April Fool of all if I actually finished the thumbnail art for tomorrow? Ha 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 ha. I don't know, we'll see. I'm probably aiming for April 2nd is probably when I'm upload a thumbnail art. Again, I've seen your comments about the current thumbnail arts, and I'm glad people are having a good time. I will probably post them to Twitter afterwards, because people have been like, you know, it'd be nice to see them preserved, because they're only here temporarily, and I'm like, okay, why not? So anyway, hello everyone, right now in Fawnhollow at 6:07 PM on Friday, March 31st, 2023. They will all be replaced when the actual new thumbnail art comes in, but okay, because you want it, I will post them to Twitter or something, so you can see them. I did say ages ago I was going to upload all my thumbnail arts somewhere, that wasn't Twitter, because Twitter does a lot of like compression, so that people could actually see them in full detail without the titles, which, you know, I've not really thought about that since until literally just now. I was going to originally do it on DeviantArt, but DeviantArt's like, you know, it's gone like downhill since like 3 years ago I brought that up. So I'm not sure which website I will do it on now. We'll certainly have to see. Or maybe it will just never happen, who knows. But yeah, otherwise, we're here to sort of vibe, have a good time. Obviously, I'm a lot more awake than I was yesterday because, you know, yesterday seeing Phantom of the Opera and all that, it's, you know, returned quite late at night. Yeah, it's a thing, you know, I do love theatre, I do love musicals and that sort of thing, but why are all the late night shows so late? You know, you got matinees, of course, which are like at 12:30 or something, and you get like the soirees, which are always at 7:30. It's like, that's a huge gap. Like, can we have like some afternoon show? I mean, I guess matinee's kind of meant to be an afternoon showing, but like, what's wrong with a good old like 4:30 or something, or like a 5? You know. I just feel like it'd be, you know, 5, you know, it would finish like at like 8 or 9 or something. You can have like a small dinner or something, and you go back and, you know, it's not too late. But, you know, with soiree, unfortunately, you know, it finished, at least the one, the Phantom of the Opera I went to see, it finished at like 10 PM, and of course, you know, travel time, and like I was back home like super late, like 11 something or whatever. You know, it's like, what can you do about it? Well, obviously what you can do about it is you go see the earlier shows if you can, but you can't always do that. I'm just saying. But there is a very distinct, unique energy, I think, about a late night train ride, or late night any sort of ride, to be honest, or like very early ones. There are sort of things which I guess is kind of like tangentially related to holiday talk. I guess it should be like should technically have been like conversation 0 or something. But oh, that's Leif. I was like, who on earth is normally that? I thought it was Crazy Red, and I was like, we just saw Crazy Red. But like riding transportation, public transportation, certainly at like the wee hours of a morning or late at night, it's a very interesting sort of feeling. Like, okay, for one, you know, it can be quite like an unnerving feeling. Certainly if you're in like a dangerous part of town, but or you know, a place where it usually isn't safe. But provided like you're in a safe place, or, you know, you're someone who, you know, you trust, etc., you know, and let's ignore the scary feeling, I suppose, and now despite the fact that, you know, it's sort of just being like, get out of here, elephant in the room. It's a very sort of like, again, it sort of like ties into the liminal sort of spaces thing, but I'm more thinking about, you know, like taking a taxi ride from like someone's house to the airport, I suppose, at like 3 AM, which is like what we did, I suppose, you know. Whoa, speak of a devil. It's a very interesting, unique sort of feeling. It's weird seeing the roads, I think, so empty. And it's weird being on like a train, which is normally like packed or something, and then just seeing it being like empty. Or it's just like you, and there's like one other person who's like 5 carriages down or something, if you can even see your way through to the end. Like, I suppose it's unnerving in multiple ways, you know, unnerving, like, you don't know who you might meet these sort of hours in the morning, but I suppose, fortunately, most of the times where I've had to take transportation late at night, it's just been, like, people just trying to get to places, not, you know, people here to cause trouble, but, of course, I'm sure that mileage may vary depending on where you live. Yeah, I don't know, it's it's a very sort of, like, interesting time, that sort of, like, period when people are not meant to be awake, when most of the waking world sleeps. But some things still, like, go on. I mean, to be fair, with at least trains in London, or most trains, I think, like, most of them don't run overnight. There are a few trains, there are a few lines in London Underground, which I think have, like, a train every hour or something on the lines, like the really busy ones in the central London, which I don't really use. So, so much for that. But most of the time the train lines like stop around like 1 a.m. I think. I think it's technically, they basically won't start any journey after midnight. But of course it takes time for a train to get from like one end of a line to the other end of a line. So sometimes it'll just be like up to 1 a.m. or something. Which makes sense, you know, obviously the people who are operating it. Even though nowadays, I believe the train operators don't operate as much, you know, as they used to. It's still probably a good idea to have someone there in case something goes wrong. You know, you kind of want someone to supervise. The same way with like self-driving cars. Yeah, okay, maybe the train or the car can drive itself. Maybe it's like automated, like at the speed it goes at or whatever. But, you know, if something goes wrong, you kind of probably want like a qualified train engineer to be able to figure out what's going on and like to coordinate between things. Delays happen, you know, sometimes coordination is needed. You know, you definitely don't want like two trains running into each other trying to occupy the same track or something. That just leads to disaster, certainly. So obviously, you know, I shouldn't say obviously, but there is a time where, you know, trains have to stop running, probably. And like buses and all that sort of thing as well. But I don't know, but if you've ever been like in a taxi, like in a very, very like early hours of the morning, or super late hours of the morning, I suppose. I guess more early hours of the morning. The only times I can think of it, really like going to an airport, I suppose. I mean, it's rare in the first place I even take taxis, I'm going to be honest. Like, even with the advent of like Uber and that sort of thing, I don't really take them that often. Most of the time I just sort of be like, I like walking, so I walk. And then if it's like too far, then I'm going to be like, I can't be bothered to go there. No, it's not like that, but yeah, I don't really take taxis all that often, but I don't know. Like, even being, no, you know, things I can think about. Oh, hello. Biscuit, you're visiting, like going to like a family friend's house or something, and then like returning home late at night. Like this used to be a super common thing, especially like around New Year's time, where, you know, you'd stay for like New Year's celebrations, and then, you know, I'm thinking like, I don't know, like my parents and they drive me home, us and family, and just like having those empty streets. It's, I don't know, it's strange. I guess it's also nice that, like, you know, I didn't grow up in an area where the streets are dangerous at night time, you know. I grew up in quite, like, a family-friendly area, is perhaps how I describe it. Like, it was mainly just sort of, like, a population as family and elderly people, is how I describe it. So, perhaps that's why I have such positive connotations. I'm sure if you grew up somewhere else, and you might have different connotations. Like, I do remember having a lot of, like, late-night walks at university times, and sometimes it was just people bothering you, like, all the time. So much so that I'm just like, don't bother me. Like, I don't want to talk to anyone. I just want to clear my head, you know. I just want to walk around or whatever. Often it will be like really drunk people, or etc., etc. You know, people just trying to harass you, etc., etc. And it's like, I'm not here about that. So I used to go walking, like, there was like this big park, I suppose, not too far when I lived back in university, where I'd sometimes go walk. In the first years, in second and third year, I lived like basically off campus in a nice like little like mini student village is perhaps how I describe it, and that was a lot nicer to walk around because it was gardens basically which belonged to the university, but, you know, were still quite nice to walk around. I don't know what else to say. So yeah, it's a very different situation, I suppose. I'm trying to think of all the transportation I've taken late at night. Like, obviously airplanes, I've taken like overnight airplanes and that sort of thing. I shouldn't say obviously, but you kind of don't really sense much of a difference inside of an airplane. Inside of an airplane, you're kind of sort of like you transcended time, you know, and space. It doesn't exist for you anymore, so it's a little bit difficult to really pin much of a concrete pin on where you are in existence, I suppose. I guess you could look out a window and be like, oh, it's daytime or it's nighttime, but, you know, you're also like thousands of kilometers up in the air. I don't know, thousands. I always get like distances wrong or whatever, but you're very high up in the air, so it's a little bit arbitrary to describe that. Oh yeah, we should not leave yet, just in case we have Nook missions, which we should do on this island. Like chop wood, water flowers, sell things. Okay. We can do that. I forgot what else I was going to say. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like taxi is like sort of like the biggest in between, where you're like you're very up close and personal, I suppose, with a road. So you know you have that sort of like peek into the outside world, but you are not directly in control of whatever's going on, or like any sort of car ride. Because like if you're out walking or if you're out cycling, you are very directly, I suppose, in the environment. It's a very different feeling to like being taken by the environment. But on things like trains and, well, maybe not so much buses, but trains and airplanes, certainly you're kind of like obfuscated from the real world. It's a bit difficult to get that sense of, I don't know. you're a bit too far away, I suppose, to get that sort of sense of like whimsical nostalgia for a nostalgia which doesn't exist. I don't know. There's probably like a word which describes that in like the dictionary of like sort of human sorrows or whatever it's called. You're not too close, like it would be if you're like walking or cycling, but you're not too far away like a plane. Cars and buses. I'm not sure what's the latest I've ever taken a bus. I've definitely not taken an overnight bus I can think of. Maybe like a coach ride. Oh, you know what? Actually, there's one time when we were coming home from a school trip. It was to Switzerland, and basically our train was like, our plane was like so delayed, like multiple hours delayed or something, and then we ended up like landing, well, we were meant to land at like 10 p.m. or something, we ended up landing at like 2, I think. No, that can't be right. Maybe it's like we were meant to be landing at like 7, we ended up landing at 2, because we were meant to be home by like 10 or 11, I think, and then I got home at like 3, I think. It was crazy delay, but I remember riding on that coach ride back like so late at night, and I was just like I remember talking to my friend as well. I'm like, I'm on like my 5th wind right now, you know, 2nd wind, 3rd wind, all of those gone, you know. I'm on my 5th wind to like even stay awake, you know. I probably should have just taken the time to sleep. Like, what's the point? I don't know. I guess I wanted to talk to my friend. I'm not really sure, but it was a very interesting experience, you know. Again, this is very, I suppose, similar to the liminal spaces discussion I had before, but it's more like liminal time, I suppose. But late night drive, I wonder if I can. I still probably have a photos. What year would that have been? 2016, probably? Or was it 2019? Is 2016 when I started sixth form? Was 2019 when I? No, I think it's 2016 is when I graduated sixth form. Okay, so it would have been 2015. I don't remember anymore. I'm going to be perfectly honest. Let's sell some of this stuff. What are some of these photos I have? This bizarre thing. I don't even know why I have that. That must have been from WhatsApp or something. You know what? I think I actually must have made an album for this. It must have been like my first album. There we go. Let's see if I can. The pictures in the airport. Oh god, this is a horrible picture of me. 1:18 a.m. when we sat down in the coach. So I must have gotten home at like 2:30 or something, probably. Which is crazy to think about. And poor parents as well. Because the thing I remember about that is that we had school immediately the next day, and so many other people on the trip obviously just were like, I'm not going to go to school that day because I am exhausted. But I went to school that day. And along with, I think all my friends actually might have gone. I don't really know. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. We also got to go into inside the cockpit of the airplane because of how delayed everything was. That was pretty cool. I don't know what good times. I'm just looking at these pictures. This must be in the airport. 12 a.m. 12:30. We're still sitting in the airport here. What's this? At 11? We're delayed. Is this in the airport? This must be in the airport at 9. I don't really know. Well, it looks like we left at 5, so presumably our flight must have been like 7 or 8. And then we got delayed by 4 hours. I mean, all things considered, that's not the worst delay in the world. I'm gonna be honest. Oh, I didn't pick up the coconuts to sell them. I forgot we had a selling mission. And like, all things considered, that's not like the worst delay in the world. So it really wasn't that much of a late night drive. Anyway, the late night drive I'm thinking of. Oh, you know what? The best late night drive is when, you know, you picture yourself, 10-year-old you or whatever, year-old you or whatever age you particularly want to be, in the back seat. You know, your parents driving. It's late night. You know, you're leaning your head against a window and you pass under one of those tunnels or like those orange lights. And you just sort of see them go by in like a hypnotic pattern, lulling you to the land of Nod. Now that's nostalgic. That's not subliminal. That's liminal. That sort of energy. It's something you can't recreate. You know, I have a lot of memories of that sort of thing. Do those tunnels even exist anymore? Why orange light anyway? I guess it's probably softer at night or something. Is it meant to reflect like the sort of halogen lamps which exist of days gone by? I don't really know if... Are halogen lamps even all that common anymore? Maybe. I don't really know. But yeah, I mean, I can't actually drive in the first place, so, you know, late night drives aren't really a thing I do. I've only ever been, like, late night passenger, I suppose. To be fair, on holiday, we did have quite a few late night drives. None of them, I think, past midnight. I think they were all, like, evening time. They're all, like, I don't know. Obviously, I shouldn't really comment on it all that much because wasn't one driving, so I don't really know what it's like late night driving. But being a passenger is pretty fun, I suppose. But being a passenger is also quite fun in the daytime. But everyone's obviously at a very sort of tired level of energy. If you're driving late at night, it's very strange. Or turning up to like a campsite late at night, everyone's like gone to sleep, just being like, shh, like we don't want to make too much noise, but we are just like literally just driving like a big old car, I suppose, next to people. But you can see people got their lights on inside of a caravan or whatever. We had a lot of late nights actually back on the holiday, now I think about it. A lot of times we go to sleep at like 11 p.m. And somehow I very consistently, every time we went to sleep, I woke up at like 7 a.m. almost every single day, which is wild. Because I mean I do have like a pretty good internal clock, I'd say. I'm very consistent. At times I wake up, and it'll be on days I need to wake up super early, I'll wake up at 6:30, and then days that I don't need to wake up, I just sort of like tell my brain, hey, I need to wake up at this time, and my brain goes, okay, and then just like puts me to sleep immediately and wakes me up only when I need to. I do oversleep sometimes, but you know, that's only generally if I'm extraordinarily tired. So it's a rare occurrence. But yeah, I was very, very, very consistent at waking up at like 7:30, like almost every day on my holiday. A few days I woke up at like 8 or something, which is wild. I was like, whoa. Because I do remember there was definitely one day where I was like the second or third to wake up or something. Or I say wake up, like maybe wake up, get up. I don't know. It's hard to say because my friends do a very human thing where they wake up and they're like, it's too early, I'm gonna go back to sleep, because we're not. If you don't need to be up that early, why need to be? But me, I'm just I don't know. I just sort of sit there being like, I want to. I got to do something now. You know, I'm up. I'm ready, and I'm up and at them. But like, you know, you got to keep quiet, because I'm like, I don't want to wake everyone up in this caravan. You know, they're all having peaceful sleeps. So you know what I did? I played a heck of a lot of games on my phone. The one benefit of playing all these different mobile games is like, you know, I never ran out of things to do in the morning. Genshin Impact, followed up by a little bit of Project Sakai, followed up by a little bit of Starlight Stage, followed up by a little bit of Shiny Colours. And the fantastic thing is wrapping around like it's the end of month, so that means they're all getting like big updates right now. Woo! Well, not big updates, but updates, full stop. And that's always exciting, isn't it? Anyway, so April Fool's is tomorrow. I don't know what I'm going to do for April Fool's. I don't have anything planned. I mean, I think the sort of pattern I've been doing for April Fool's over these past years is I basically just do something funny for the intro for about 30 seconds, and then I go, that was weird, and then I just go, like, seamlessly transition into a normal video. I say seamlessly. Perhaps not so seamlessly. What did I do well, not yesterday. What did I do last year? Oh, last year I did the Japanese one, didn't I? I don't know what I did the year before that, I'm going to be honest. Maybe I didn't do anything. Anyway, maybe that's the thing I'll start doing. I don't know. Funny intro for tomorrow? Not funny intro? Kind of depends on your sense of humour. Anyway, I'm going to round this episode off here. So if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares are greatly appreciated. Twitter, Discord down below. Hope to see each other again. But for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye-bye for now. Wait, I didn't wave. Bye-bye for now.